Got a lot of stuff. Okay. What's up, Jumbo? I got your entry. What's up? Thanks for joining, everybody. So I got a couple things to show that I was just kind of looking around, and I thought it would make some good content. But I do have a giveaway drawing for the people that will have to comment on my first stream, and my last post is kind of all the stuff that's going to be in that giveaway. So I don't know, maybe we could draw now, or we can wait a couple minutes, but I'll hang out for a couple minutes and then we'll draw a name. But there's not a lot of names in here, but it's fine. Diversion fishing. Your name's in this box. Got some ideas for another giveaway already, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. We'll see. All right, so I think 2 of you guys that are in the giveaway are already here. So let's just draw this and get it over with. If I draw your name, just send me a DM and we could get your shipping all figured out. So yeah, I won't look. Guitar OD, are you in this? Are you in the chat? You just won the giveaway. Just send me a message and I'll get your package out probably tomorrow. Just this box here. Giveaway. So you got that out of the way. Another thing we could try. I've been doing like a jig tie every video, and each time I think it would be cool to do a new kind of hybrid jig that you don't really see. So I got a couple like materials we can check out. I got this is like fly tying material, but it's called thin skin. I originally got this stuff because I thought it would be cool to make kind of like a craw body with it, but didn't really work out right. But I was in my basement and I found these and I thought it'd be cool to cut out little like craw claws. And they're on like this paper back, so it's kind of easy to cut out. So I think you peel this skin back. Yeah, let's peel one off. I don't know how good that'll look, but it's like kind of transparent. So we might throw that on a jig. Kind of weird. Yeah, that's a little more transparent than I thought, but we'll see. I have black and brown, but they're both transparent. I also made a orange leather craw kind of hybrid jig last stream, and I made a couple more. This time they're black. So I have these. Maybe we could do those. Also, I was showing you the last time that I have this. I just got a weird notification, but this is like the Imakatsu spinnerbait, or one of them. It's got like all these. It's like a multi-bladed spinnerbait. But I was saying how that it has these thicker skirt material that like tapers away, and I thought that would be kind of cool to buy, but it's kind of hard to find it. But leave it up to AliExpress, and I got. It's not the best quality, but it's. You know, it has like I don't know, it's kind of like a trickworm look. It's got like a fat butt to it, and then the head's, you know, skinny. So I don't know. You could throw that on a jig and have these kind of like the fat part hang out. Maybe it'll look like claws, but the quality's not the best on these. They're kind of all bent up, but you can make a cool jig out of them. They have, I don't know why I ordered this, but it's got gold flake in it and it's black. So who knows? I also got off AliExpress just like a sheet of silicone. So I don't know how they make silicone skirts, but this is just like a big solid square of it. So you can cut out, you know, claws. And I actually did that. I got these claws that I cut out. So that, I know this would look good. I don't know about like that thin skin stuff. My day's going, it's been going alright, I suppose. Kind of crazy. Yeah, so you can, I mean, we could even tie more than one. We could tie that thin skin, we could tie this new silicone. I think would be cool. But yeah, I've been doing some unboxings and like showing some stuff, and then I've been doing like a jig tie at the end of the video, so maybe we could keep that pattern going. Also, the drink of the night is the same as last time. At the fishing shows, have I sold anything? No. My inventory isn't like the largest where I can go to a show and just have a bunch of stuff, but what's up, Empire Lure-Works? Yeah, I think like the ice fishing show in St. Paul, I've been to it, but like I don't have enough jigs to be able to go to those shows and, you know, have a booth. I think it would be cool to talk to people and like have some stuff out, but like I don't have a big inventory for that right now. I don't know if I ever will, but it would be cool. Maybe one day. I don't know. I'm kind of like short on time. But yeah, I think I'm gonna just show some stuff, and then we'll tie some jigs up. Maybe we'll have a giveaway at the end of the video. Can't promise. But so I was just looking around in my locker full of stuff, and I saw my first jig I ever tied. So I want to say this was like my birthday, like September 2019, I tied this. It's just a sapphire blue football head with, it's got the rabbit claws on it, but it looks really, I don't know, it looks pretty bad. But this was the first jig I tied. It's got like 2 rubber antennas on it, black antennas, and it has like this crystal chenille wrapped around the body with some feather wrapped around too. It looks really, I don't know, it looks really bad to me. But that was the first jig I ever tied. And I don't think I've fished it yet, but I think it's kind of cool just to hold on to it. Fishing lures, I honestly probably, yeah, right after I got this vise, I got this vise, and at the same time I got like the hot pot 2 mold, or the lead melting, whatever you call it, the hot pot. That's like the beginner one, and I still use it. I really like it. But yeah, I bought lead. I think I bought a football jig mold. I bought a round head mold and an archy head mold. And I had so many extra jigs. I have a whole box of jigs from like 2 years ago that I probably won't ever fish again, but they're all like mediocre looking ties. Maybe a little better than this, but I don't know. I think I sold a lot of them too, just on Craigslist for like huge discount. But so I don't know if you know of like the Beast Coast company, but they make soft plastics and they make jigs, tungsten jigs. And I had this, I think this is called, I don't know what this is called, but this is like their slow rolling swim bait that they make, the creeper, I think. It's either the creep or the creeper, but I put a beast, or a owner beast hook on there. Then I tied this red marabou on there, on the beast hook, and it's got like the weighted, it's got like a lead weight on it. So then right before that, I tied this like red marabou on it to kind of look like a gill or like blood or something. But that would look kind of cool in the water. Give a little bit like secondary action going on. I started making baits in 2019, like after September, like October, November. I think it was a couple months before I actually sold any, but like the first baits I sold were those hair jigs, and they probably looked mediocre then, but now they're kind of like evolved. They look pretty good now, but yeah, I don't think I have an example of a hair jig here, but I might. Hold on. No, I do not. But yeah, it's, what is it, 2022 almost? 3 years. Oh, there's a lot to learn for sure. There's a lot to learn pouring lead. There's like techniques to like every step. I don't know, I thought that was cool. I also have this box. So I ordered this guy on Instagram. He's from Slovakia, I believe. He makes some like realistic soft plastic baits. I don't know when I ordered these, but I've had these for at least like half a year. But these are pretty cool. It has like this like stuff in there. But yeah, I'll pull these out of the bag. They're kind of like oily and stuff, but pretty unique. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but this is like a baby bass. It's super oily, but it's got like this paddle tail on the back, facing out. It looks like a bass. It's got like a open mouth on it. Those eyes look pretty realistic. It's kind of transparent. Transparent top. It's got like a pearl belly. I don't know how much it weighs, but it doesn't have a hook slot on the bottom, so you might just have to put like a heavy ball head on this thing, but it's kind of cool. Realistic looking. Throw that back in the bag. I'm probably gonna have to go this whole stream with like oily fingers. How did I learn? I want to say like Milliken had a good video for beginners. Milliken Fishing has a good video for a lot of stuff, for making worm baits, making lead jigs. Yeah, it's pretty simple. You just kind of have to upfront pay for a lot of the materials. You need lead, you need a pot, and you need a mold, and you need hooks, and you need like weed guards and like those blanks to make a weed guard in the mold. You need paints. You need either a heat gun to warm up the lead to paint. Do you ever throw big swim baits in the metro? I have, but I usually fish finesse jigs most of the time and smaller size baits. If I fish big baits, it's usually like topwater baits. But here's another one. This one looks pretty cool. This is like a goby, but look how big it is. I wasn't expecting it to be this big. So it's got like that paddle tail on it again. It's solid, like solid pearl, and it's got all this detail. You know, it's got like colored gill, eyes, like a red mouth. It looks like blood. I don't know how he did this, but I'm kind of shaky too. But yeah, that looks like a goby. It's huge though. You could probably rig this on like a beast hook. It'll be fine. I'll just crawl it on the bottom. But yeah, I got this, and it came in a 2-pack, so I got 2 of these. I don't know offhand what the guy's name was, but I think it starts with like an N. My biggest bass, I think a 5.8 ounce largemouth. Like a 4.9 smallmouth is my biggest smallmouth. So that was a cool box. Thought I'd show it off. I don't know if I have any plans to fish these right now, but something I got and I just saw laying around. So I should probably really wash my hands, but I'm not going to. Also, jerkbaits are probably, outside of jig fishing, jerkbaits are probably my favorite lure, favorite bait to fish. So I have a lot of jerkbaits I'm going to show, but most importantly, there's a couple of like specialty boxes that I thought would be cool to show you guys. I don't know if you know that Spro, they make pretty popular frogs and crankbaits, but they have a box as well. This was new, I think, a year ago, but this box is like perfect for jerkbaits and like walking topwater baits. Mounting a fish, I've definitely thought of it, but it's not something that I've been like craving super hard. But this box, to me, this is just kind of my lighter jerkbait. So these are your like X wraps and shadow wraps, but like the box itself is pretty cool. So Spro sells these. I don't really see these marketed a lot. I have some like Smithwick and a KVD in the back. So that's one style box. I have another one of those. This is full of like Chinese brand jerkbaits for like the river that I don't care if I lose. You know, I tied some feathers on some of the treble hooks on them, but these are like Alley Express baits. So I got two of those Spro jerkbait boxes. And then I have a few of these. These are the Duo Realis, or not just Duo really, not Duo Realis, but these are, I don't know if they're specific for jerkbaits, but they come in, I want to say 3 different sizes. This side I have, these are just all my 6 cents provokes. And it opens differently too, so it opens the long way. What do I got in the back? Some Lucky Craft. Yeah, these are like all Lucky Craft on the back. So these are pointers, slender pointers, flash pointers, pointer 100s, a little medium diving. So that's another box. I know some of the larger jerkbaits won't fit in here, so then I'll put them in that like Spro box. And this is cool because you're not like, your jerkbaits aren't all tangled together in like a plain old box, like a 3700 box, which I had before. And these boxes are also smaller. So I had like those treble keepers on all these to protect the hooks when they're in the plain old boxes. But this way is a lot better. Some Jackal, Range, Realis, just in this box. Some more Lucky Craft, some spy baits in there. But yeah, it's a cool box. It's pretty small. I kayak a lot. I don't have a boat, so this works out. So this one I have like Mega Bass in, I think. Yeah, some +1s. This is an OSP 110. It's like a 110 size jerkbait from OSP. Like that super realistic perch color. So this is the Varuna. It's another like high-end jerkbait. OSP makes some high-end hard baits and plastics, but that's super cool. What do I got here? This is more of my shallow, I guess. Just some regular 110s and then 110 Junior +1. That was the Spawn Cherry, cool color. Yeah, so they sell a few different size boxes for these. So I think I got them on hookup tackle. So I thought those were cool. I bought this like a year ago and I haven't even opened it out of the plastic, but this is like borderline fun, borderline gimmick. Pikachu. So this is kind of, I'll open it up. It's made from Duo. I don't know if it's like a jitterbug style lip on it. But I've seen videos of the action and it looks pretty good. It has 3 treble hooks on it. So yeah, there's a company called The Backdoor Project, and it says produced by Duo, so it's kind of like a collab. Take it out. It's funny looking, but the quality looks really, really nice on this thing. Just kind of a fun lure. It's got a long tail with the treble hook, and it's got 2 treble hooks on the body. So that's a lot of hooks. 9 hooks on there. It's got this big jitterbug style lip on it. It's got a swivel for the line tie too. That's pretty nice. That's some extra detail there. And it's just got some like writing on the bottom. It says like Nintendo on it and stuff. So that, I don't know if I'll ever fish this thing, but I might. Saw that. That'd be cool to show. I think they run for like $30 on Tackle Warehouse right now. Do you use a lot of the baits you make, or do you use a lot of the baits you buy? Or kind of both? Usually if I'm fishing on the river, I'll fish with my own jigs. Just because it's predominantly smallmouth. And I lose and go through baits most on the river. So, I do buy a lot of like cool JDM stuff, and I guess I fish that more on like the lakes that I go to, but I've been fishing a lot of drop shot lately, and you know, medium running crankbaits a lot. So I don't make those, but yeah, like jig fishing and rock or like sand transitions and stuff like that. I fish my jigs a lot. Cause I lose a lot, so yeah. I don't usually buy jigs because that's kind of the whole reason I started making jigs, is because I would lose a lot of the store-bought stuff. You know, $5-6 jigs. Lose like one cast. What kayak? I have the... God, I'm like drawing a blank. Need a drink of beer. What kayak do I have? How do I not know what kayak I have? It's a Old Town Topwater 120. So it has like the rudder, and it has like the pedal drive, and it's 12 feet long, 34 inches wide. So you could stand on the front, you could stand on the back. It's got like a seat. It's got a rod. It's got a couple of rod holders on it. It's got a lot of space for storing stuff. You have storage underneath you. But yeah, I like it right now. I have like a battery pack in it and a fish finder on it. That's kind of all I need. Let's see. I have like my Ned rig box out here too. I don't know what you guys fish, if you guys fish Ned rigs or not, but I do make like weedless Ned heads with like a bait keeper on them. But this is like my favorite Ned head. This is like the Aaron Martin's Picasso Rhino head. Weedless version of it. So this is like one of my favorite heads that I store by. Or I get them online, but I have these. I don't like the Z-Man ones because the hooks are kind of like garbage. At least on like the basic ones, the cheaper ones. Ned plastics, I have some in here. This is like a straight up Ned box here. So in all the colors, but here's like a Morning Dawn Roboworm. These are probably my favorite. My second favorite is probably these, the X-Zone. This is like an orange, kind of green. I have a few packs of the Roboworm and the X-Zone just in my bag, I think. But those are my favorite ones. You can always throw like these drop shot style baits. This is like a Berkeley branded bait. The Ned Bomb from Missile Baits makes this. This is a good bait. It's kind of small for my hook that I make, but I actually have, I think I have one of my Ned heads in here somewhere. At least I should. Yeah. So this is what I make. It has like this little bait keeper on there so your plastic doesn't get ripped off. Do you like Z-Man? I like their plastics, I do. I like the big TRD though. The small one is kind of small. I have the big ones, but I don't usually, I usually bring this box out and I don't mix those plastics because they melt. But I think I have a bag or two just separate in my bag. Here's kind of like a baitfish pattern and a green purple worm. I think these I bought from like a homemade bait maker. I wish I could remember the name so I could like shout them out, but this is kind of like a TRD size. Caught a ton of walleye on these. It's like a green pumpkin black top and like a transparent pearl. I don't know, like walleyes love this color for some reason. Then I got the Ned Ocho from Strike King. Not my favorite. Got some Demiki stingers. I think these are the 3-inch, I think. It's just like a basic. Yeah. These aren't my favorite either, but I have a couple of those. But yeah, I could just rig up one of my X-Zone baits on this Ned head I have. Line it up. To expose it. So it's weedless. It has, I'm using my phone camera. See that little bait keeper, how it holds this plastic? So you're gonna get maybe snagged up and you're gonna catch fish and this plastic's not going to slide down and look like crap. And sometimes you'll be fishing and just reel in your bait and you'll see the bait's all like twisted around. But that does a good job of keeping it in place. It's not like a deal breaker, but it saves a lot of headaches. So that's a good size. I mean, I have a Gamakatsu 1/0 EWG hook on here. And that you can see, like, I need at least a 3.5, 4-inch bait for this hook to, give that top section action on there. So if I have one of those short, like, TRDs on there, you're not going to get much action with these hooks. So the shorter baits, I like to use the single hooks. Kind of like this. This is a Z-Man hook. But, it's, like, super small. So a 3-inch bait would look good on that. But on my hook, I don't think a 3-inch bait would look that good. It'll just be solid and not move around a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I had that laying around. So I was thinking, in my next giveaway, I'm probably gonna do a couple like hard baits. And maybe a couple of jigs if I have enough time to tie a couple of jigs up. .28-inch walleye. I think the biggest walleye I've caught was like 25. But that's crazy. And the weeds too. But yeah, last stream I talked about my Valley Hill wallet. I know my video died. So I don't know if you guys could even see that anymore, but the reason why I want to talk about this again because I have a few of these. I know you're not able to buy these in the United States. At least I can't find them. But yeah, it's like super flat. It's all Japanese writing on there. But you fill it up and it looks like this. It's just like a little square. I'll show you what I got. I did show what I had in here and then my video died, so I don't know if you guys were able to see that. I just have some EWG hooks with my bait keeper tied on. The same bait keeper I tie on my Ned heads. So those are 2/0 hooks, And I think I have some one-aught hooks in here. I drop shot at the EWG a lot, and I had pretty good luck on it. So it's also weedless, but I still nose hook drop shot too. Okashira heads, screw heads. I think the 1/8 and next size up from that. Have those in there. These are like some propeller blades on an EWG from Decoy, I believe is the brand. Those are in there. Some plus blades. So these you could peg these on like those rubber stoppers on your line, and it's just like an accessory blade. There's some I think these are just owners drop shot hooks. Size 1. Some tungsten. More tungsten. So I fish the 1/4 ounce a lot. I have some 1/8 ones in there for super shallow. These are 2-aught K-Tech ball heads. Got those in there. Got some screw locks for just putting in the head of the bait if you're gonna nose hook. I think it helps a lot keeping the hook from ripping the bait up. But you could pack this thing full. You don't have to bring out your whole terminal box. If you just wanted to put drop shot hooks and drop shot weights in here, you could. But it's pretty cool. Doesn't take up as much room as another box would be. So you could have even a small 3600 Plano box that you use for your terminal, or you could have a little box like this. You could fit this in your pocket if you wanted. This is pretty cool. I know you could buy the Ryugi brand ones, and they're actually available now, so you could get that. But I think it would be cool to put one of these in a giveaway. It's called the Anti-Rust Hook Folder. So it has apparently these pieces of paper, and each sleeve has anti-rust quality to it. So that's cool. Idea. But I think we're getting to the point where I'm just gonna start tying stuff now. Here's Lucky Craft Sammy in an interesting color. This is the frog. It's called Frog. So it's a Sammy 115. Throw that in a box. I have a couple of these. And why not, throw another $25 Mega Bass in there. This is a Wake and React as the color. I have a couple of these ones, but if you're gonna do a giveaway, might as well make it exciting, right? So it has this crackle on top. It's a sapphire blue with black crackle on it. Bottom is just solid chartreuse. The bait is not transparent. Slightly transparent, but it's got pearl and a purple pink hue to it too. It's a cool dirty water jerkbait. Clear water would be fine too, but yeah, I talked about these on my other video too. I like these hooks. They're super fine wired, but I think if you set your drag loose and use 8 to 10 pound line, you're not going to bend these out. A lot of people bend these out. I've bent them out and broke them before, but usually you don't want to set the hook on jerkbait really hard. But yeah, I put it in the bag, but I unboxed this before my last video. It's an Orochi Double X. It's a spinning rod. It's a 6/8 medium. Rated for 1/4 to 1/2 ounce, or 1/4 to 3/4. So that's gonna be my new jerkbait rod next year. I think I had a 7-foot cranking rod this year, and I did not like it. You could keep ice fishing plastics in there. Yeah, you could. I know they have those little pucks that people sell. There's a guy that makes some pretty cool soft plastics for ice fishing that he sells them in these little pucks. I think you can get them from Hobby Lobby for I think they use them for jewelry, but they have all these sections and you can just fill it up. I have a ton of ice fishing plastics too. I could show those off. But hold on a second. So I may or may not have plastics in here, but this is the Helix 5 Ice. This is what I used last year. I like it a lot. I have 4-pound Sniper fluoro for ice fishing. I usually fish for bluegill perch, crappie. So that's the line I use. I use that line for my jigs as well. So if I'm ice fishing, I use my jigs 95% of the time. So yeah, this well, here's the unit, but I thought I had some plastics in here, but I don't. I think they're in my sled. I have some plastics, but this isn't nearly half of what I have, but Fat Bottom Baits made me these. These are like a little longer, but they'd be good for like crappie. So you got a bunch of different colors in there. And they're like infused with coffee scent. I don't know if they're infused or just have coffee oil scent on them, but just another longer version of what I typically use. And I feel bad if I can't remember the name of all these bait makers that I bought this stuff from, but yeah. Just a little plastics for jigs. Blue, brown, pink. So these are their, they have like 3 little balls and a tail on it, so you can take a ball or 2 off to fit your hook, depending on the size of the hook. Some like bug looking plastics. These are a little fatter, so I don't know if these would barely fit like a size 12 hook, so like those 5mm tungsten teardrops. It might be on the bigger side. Here's some little, I don't know, minnow style. The guy that makes these, I forget his name, but he makes the ones with the pucks. I feel bad for not knowing what his name was, but he made me some gold and pink ones too. Some more of those bug style, pink and purple. Then got the red. Pretty good. I like chartreuse the most in pink. You probably could get away with chartreuse and pink, you know, for forever. If that's all you had. But I'm gonna throw these in my unit box, my unit bag right now. So that way, if I do forget my plastics, I'll have some on me. But yeah, do you guys ice fish? Have you ever gone out on the ice with all your stuff and then realized your battery for your fish finder died? That's what happened to me. I had to go to Cabela's and buy a new battery. Kind of a rough day. But yeah, there's that. What do I got over here? I have... Here's a cool bait. Teckle. They make those sprinkler tail frogs, topwater baits. This is the Blade Walker. It's kind of like a chatterbait style. It actually vibrates really well in the water, but it's got this big chunky blade on the front. I don't know what a bass would think about that, but this thing runs pretty shallow. I have a Doe Life stick, 4.5 inch from OSP on here, but I don't know. It's pretty cool. That was just sitting around, but yeah, Teckle makes this. It has a split ring to a blade, but it's definitely unique. It vibrates pretty well too. But yeah, I think that's enough with showing stuff. I'm gonna start making a couple jigs to kill the time here. But here's another couple jigs I made. So this is like a round ball head mold that Do It Mold sells, and it has a screw lock keeper on it. So the mold's really nice because it comes with a lot of sizes, like 1/16 ounce all the way up to like a 1/2 ounce. So it's nice to have these because it's pretty versatile. Small swim baits are pretty, it's a staple. So it's nice to just have a bunch of these that you can make whenever you want. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's a lot of this crap that I have. I have this like custom rack thing I have for my tungsten jigs. That is my next color. It's like a maroon pink with like a silver bottom on it. I want to add something else to it, but that's going to be probably the next pattern I come out with. I've been slacking really bad on that. I like to have at least like a dozen patterns with at least a dozen of each pattern before I do a drop. So I got a long ways to go. I think I have 3 patterns right now. So we can do black or we can do green claws for this jig that I'm about to make. I think I want to use green because this just seems really different to me. These like skin material. So I think I'm going to I have a green pumpkin football head. I'm going to tie these on there. And the color is a little bit off. I mean, this isn't like a green pumpkin, it's more like a watermelon color. But that'll be a challenge. The challenge would try to make this look as cool as I can without matching claws and the head color. But yeah, we'll tie this up. Maybe we'll do a giveaway, a small giveaway. If I have time to tie another jig, I'm not really on a time budget, but I don't know how long I want to make this stream. My last stream was like 2.5+ hours. If you include the section that got deleted from my phone dying, which I should plug my phone in. Alright. Otherwise, everything just gets deleted. So yeah. If you're just tuning in, we're going to tie a jig. So I said in my last video, I always hand drill with an 1/8 inch drill the holes in this thing. So I usually paint the jig without anything in the hole because I hand drill out the holes every time. So this way I could make the hole with the angle I want, and I just dig out that lead and dig out that paint. It's like a super clean, it's a super clean hole every time, whether you're gonna epoxy weed guards in there, like those wire weed guards that I use. So yeah, it looks really clean. Sometimes if you just paint the holes, the hole will get, it'll be too full of paint to even fit a fiber weed guard in. So I always do that, and it looks clean every time. If you're getting paint in your eye hole, an X-Acto knife works really nice. You can just poke a hole in it and just rotate this, and it will look clean when you're done with it. So you don't have to like use those like punch things that punch the eye holes out. Those things kind of suck. I bought like 3 different brands and they are all bad. I don't think I had one on me, but yeah, I would just do that X-Acto knife trick. So this is a nice painted head. This is a 1/4 ounce with a 2/0 hook, looks like. So it's not really like a finesse jig with a small hook on it, so I always tie, so this is going to be a hybrid jig, so it's going to be meant to have a plastic on it. I'll zoom in a tiny bit, but the quality looks like crap, so I don't want to zoom in too much. So I'm probably gonna just tie a wire bait keeper on this thing. I'll just tie a mono keeper on it just because it's a video. But I think Do It Molds sells this stuff, and Barlow's Tackle might sell this stuff, but these are just, I don't know if these are the small version of this. I think they're called WB400 keepers. So a lot of Do It Molds take this in the mold, where you can mold this into your lead. But this particular mold and all of the molds that I own don't have a spot for that keeper. And I just buy them separate and I tie them in. This is the small version. There's like a medium version and a small version, I want to say. But if I'm not doing that, I do the 30-pound big game for keeper. And this will like lock your plastic in really well. I say it in every video, but if you're using like super, I don't know, non-durable plastics that rip up, the mono bait keeper works really well. And we're going to use just black thread for this, 210 flat wax. So it's going to lay down flat. I usually make a base across the whole jig, even though this middle section I'm not going to use, because I don't just want to tie on the hook and have it slide around. So that's why I go across the whole thing. The bass don't care, and it only helps. So yeah, I'm just gonna tie this jig. If you want to hang out, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. So I just put a layer of thread, take my piece of mono, bend it in half, and try to tie it in without breaking your line or breaking your thread on the hook, which can be difficult. So I like to pull up on this mono and just tie a thick layer under it. I'm probably going to say this every time I do this, but I do that so the mono sticks straight up instead of it just being tied down. And then, you know, see how it's like sticking up now and not just laying flat because I tied it down. It's actually being, you know, stuck up from that thread. And I'll just whip finish it and glue it. Super glue or Sally Hansen would work. You don't really need to glue it down. If you really wanted to, you don't have to. Especially if it's just for you and you're not trying to sell it or give it away. So this is where the video gets extremely, extremely exciting. So I cut the tag end off and I have this piece sticking up. So I'm going to glue it, then I'm just going to cut that piece off. I'll do Sally Hansen on this. I don't know. Like, I'm going into this without knowing what materials I'm going to use exactly, but I just know I want to use those claws, those silicone claws that I found. So that's kind of the challenge, is you just jump into it and try to make it look cool. So then I'll just cut this piece off, and it's going to leave you with like 2 tag ends that stick up. And I spread them apart, and that's like a super, super nice bait keeper right there. Your plastic's not going to rip off. Shouldn't. Then you have the molded bait keeper too, which is like a secondary keeper. So as long as you're tying everything over here, this thing's going to be just fine for putting plastics on. Volk Outdoors, what's up, dude? Tying more jigs. Zach Fisher, Tyler Bart, how are you guys? Have you guys bought from me before? Have you guys won anything from me before? I recognize the names. So yeah. So now we have to determine if we want the claws to be behind the silicone or in front of it. And I think for this one, we're going to have it behind the silicone. but I just thought of it. We can tie some sort of deer hair or marabou in here to make it, you know, extra different. I think the last 2 videos I did marabou, so let's try to do some like light olive deer hair, because we have like a dark green pumpkin, then we have this like watermelon green, so these don't match. So I think if I use a different colored deer hair, it might look cool. You have once. Did you buy ice fishing jigs, or did you buy hair jigs? Or silicone jigs? I'm going to exchange this brown for a green color. So I just found, I have this like light olive. I use a ton of this. So this you can buy, I want to say you could buy it on Barlow's, or you can go to any like half popular fly tying shop website. They'll have little patches of, I think this is deer belly hair or deer body hair. They're both pretty similar, but they're shorter and they're a lot easier for the hair to splay out. And in like the fly tying world, it's called like spinning deer hair. Like that's the technique, which I don't tie flies, so I don't really know a lot about that, but I know that's like the terminology. And this is like some bright green. I don't know. That might look cool. It kind of matches the claws, but doesn't match the head at all. So yeah, this is going to be... We could just use both. Try to make both of them work. Tie 2 different colors of deer hair in there. So tie some deer hair in here, and then over here get some silicone. Be kind of cool. If I could tie like a different style jig every video I do, that'd be cool. Always thinking of content though. I could unbox a bunch of stuff. I could tie jigs all day, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what people like to see, but that's what we're gonna do. I also have to pick out some silicone for this too. But I need to get some thread back on here because I cut my thread earlier. Where are you from, Tyler? Smallmouth? I don't know if I just did a whip finish, but we're just going to do that to lock the thread in. I have marabou laying around too, and it hurts to not use that. Anyways, we have 2 different colored deer hair that we're going to try to use for this. And I honestly don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. Oh yeah, so that's like deer belly hair, deer body hair. If you see it, they'll sell you like a patch of this, and it lasts pretty long. Like, I think I use more hair than like a fly tyer would use, because I'm tying on a much larger, you know, a larger body. But this stuff lasts me a really, really, really long time. And if you get bucktail, which is like probably the most popular thing that people know, but this is deer hair. It's a lot longer, and depending on where you cut from it, it's different. The length is different on the outside, like the outside here, compared to like the center. The center is a lot shorter, and it sticks up more. You just kind of have to play with it, but that's another good option. I mean, that would be cool to tie into here as well. Maybe we'll tie the bucktail in there, because that deer hair is going to splay out a lot, and it's a lot thicker. The fibers are a lot thicker, so I might just, off this whim here, might go with this color. So it's got like a kind of a brown olive color to it. We're gonna do that instead. So yeah, we're gonna put the deer body away then. This is all part of the process. You never know what you're gonna do. So here's another like dark olive color that I've used a ton of. Another thing you could do, if you don't know, this is like a hair stacker that I don't use much because I don't tie with bucktail a lot. Even though this one's been used a ton. But yeah, you could put the hair in here, like the pointy side up, and just like, you know, tap this on the desk, and all your hair is going to be level, or like straight. So all the tips of your hair are going to be level. So that's like a deer hair stacker, it's called. So yeah, let's tie some hair in here and stop talking so much. So yeah, this lighter one's a lot finer. So I'm gonna use this. And I don't really care about how straight the hair is because it's relatively straight already. And it's fine that they're not even because it kind of looks cool like that. So I'm just kind of eyeball it to the length I want. And I'm going to cut the end of it. And I'm not going to tie it in and cut afterwards. I'm going to cut it before I put it on. So I don't know. I honestly don't know how this jig's going to look, but feeling good about it. I never want to like overpower it with one specific material. So I don't want to have it like, I don't want the deer hair to take away from the silicone or the claws or the plastic if you're going to present a plastic with it. And we're just going to go all the way around with this jig. And try not to use a ton. So I do have some hair like sticking off the side of the thread. So it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to like slide out. There's very, very little like chartreuse in this as well. If you buy chartreuse dyed bucktail, the middle of it's going to be brown. And I think a lot of colors, I'll show you in a second. A lot of the like bright colors you buy, it'll be dark in the middle of the bucktail. It's just the process of how they dye the hair. Like that darker hair in the middle is not going to take the color as well, I'm guessing. So we have a full layer around the whole thing. Pretty simple. So yeah, like this is orange, and you can see like the middle is brown, but the very outside's orange. So I'm guessing that was white before. And same with this purple I got. The whole middle's like, black, but you get like a little hue of purple. So if you ever buy bucktail, you get like two colors. Alright, so I'm gonna, tie this down a little bit more. And I'll probably super glue it down just to make it more durable. But it doesn't like need super glue. And then I use my Loctite for that. I like Loctite because the brush is small. And compared to Gorilla Glue, it's a lot easier to use for tying jigs. Goes a long way too. I also don't recommend using like Loctite gel for weed guards. As it turns white, and I've had weed guards come out, I just go with 5-minute epoxy for the weed guard. So yeah, so this glue is drying out. I'm going to get, we gotta tie these claws in. We'll tie the claws in, and then we'll kind of, we'll tie the claws in and then figure out what we want to do with colors for silicone. And I mean, we have some rubber material and we have flash. You can always add some of that too. I got this on AliExpress. It's just a bunch of different colors of rubber. So this is like a transparent chartreuse. I don't think that would look that good on this one, but this like transparent olive might look good. And I got orange, black, brown. This stuff, the quality of this stuff isn't the best. As far as like looking realistic and whatnot. But that's just like being super snobby. So there's a company called Hendron, Hendron. They make like really nice quality rubber. So this is like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to show you guys. But see how all those legs are separated and not like on sheet together? Yeah, this would actually be, this will be a nice color for this jig. Maybe we'll use that. But I have a bunch of different colors. Here's like a darker green pumpkin color. That would look good. We'll keep this out. Either that or this like light olive color, but we'll put the good stuff on. I also have, this is a pretty good quality, but it's got like that sheet with them all stuck together, but this is, I don't know if this isn't called living rubber. This is just, I don't know what kind of rubber it is, but it's got bars on it, so that would look cool. Not on this jig, I don't think, but that's like a bright green chartreuse. I also have brown with like silver bars on it. That would look good on another jig, like a brown or orange colored jig. I got purple with black bars on it, so that would look good on a dark colored jig. Black. So I've been playing around with this stuff too. It's like a stretchy, it's stretchy, and it's like, it's called Life Flex. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like a rubber skirt, but it's thinner, and it looks kind of like braid, but it's kind of cool. So yeah, we'll tie the claws in, then we'll tie this rubber in, and then we'll tie in some silicone. Maybe we could finesse cut it differently too. I was kind of wanting to do like a longer bottom as far as like the strand length on the bottom longer, and then have the top be finesse cut while the bottom's not finesse cut, because I think that would look cool. Because if you put a plastic on here, you're not going to have all this crap draping over the plastic. You're going to have all this stuff flared out on the front, on the top, and then the bottom will have all those strands. I think that would look cool. So we'll keep this rubber out. We got the deer hair in there. I think the next thing is these claws. And these are super, super thin. And I don't know if it's going to look very good, but I've never done it. So let's try it out. Yeah, so then I just thought about it too. We tied a bait keeper on for plastic, but we're going to have claws on it already, so I don't know how that's going to look. And so this is so thin, it's going to be like, it might look weird tying it in, because it's not going to like splay out. It's going to be like, I don't know, we'll see. So I just make sure that they're the same length. And then we can tie it in. I think each side is the same. Yeah. It like has this curve going up. Kind of goofy. But yeah, I've been I've been on this step for like 10 minutes and I've just been rambling. So let's tie this in. I didn't like really measure it out, but the length is pretty good. And I'm not going to tie it like all the way up to the deer hair because I want it to have a little bit of room, you know, to spread out instead of like, you know. See, it takes like 20 seconds to do the step, but it takes 10 minutes to talk about it. So like my last stream took me like, probably took me over a half hour to tie one jig, but it really takes like maybe 10 minutes. So this is kind of splayed out a lot, if you can see. I think that looks kind of dumb. So we're going to actually tie it up next to the deer hair, and hopefully that'll make it more narrow. Try to be careful with it. So I don't know how durable this stuff will be too. I could see this stuff like getting torn off this material. But yeah, it looks kind of goofy. I don't know. There's another way that I could bring these claws closer together, and that's to tie a material in on top of this on each side. So maybe this is an opportunity where we can maybe do like a black, because that bucktail that's in there is kind of spreading it out. So I could tie down some more bucktail, but I could do it in a different color and it'll, you know, like make some contrast to this. So maybe that's when I could grab that darker olive bucktail and tie it in there, and that'll just like squeeze the claws together. Oh yeah. Here's some more of that Life Flex. It's made from Hairline. There's a dark olive color. That would look cool on this jig too. Shit, we're gonna use that. Arctic fox fur. Not on this jig, but pretty cool stuff. Alright. So we got the dark colored olive now. We're going to just tie this only in the spots where that like silicone claw is on. And that should bring it in a little bit. And add some contrast to the jig too. So just, you know, the same width of hair should be the same width as the width of the silicone I tied in. And then I want to match the length of the bucktail that's on there already. So the colors are not that different, so it's not going to like look super goofy. But I'll show you what I mean once I tie this stuff on. And hopefully I won't overdo it where the claws will be too narrow, but it's already tied in, so we'll see. It does help. So you're kind of like troubleshooting this thing as you tie it. At least for this jig that we've never tied before. But that's, you know, that's a trick that I knew, and it came in handy with this guy. So yeah, we can maybe glue that too. But yeah, the claws, I mean, they came in a little bit, but I think they'll be fine. So we have this Life Flex and rubber. I don't know if I want to put silicone. This Life Flex has some shine to it too, so I don't know if we should put some Crystal Flash in there. You know, it's crazy. We'll put a little silicone in there, so then we'll have the Life Flex, the rubber, and silicone in there. So our Light Flex is like a forest green. Our rubber is it's like as dark as the head almost. So try to get like an olive or light olive silicone if I have it, and we'll tie that in. If I can find some. Alright, couple options. We can do this. This is pretty close to the color of the rubber, so I don't know if I want to use this. But this has gold flake in it. It's green pumpkin, golden speck. And I have this watermelon candy color. It's different than, it's lighter than the rubber and the Light Flex, so we could do that. I think we're gonna use this because there's like green pumpkin striped one. I don't really like the green and the purple on it. Which is funny because this one has green and purple on it, but I like the base color of this. Yeah. And I might just pull one tab of this out. You know, I don't want to use more than a tab of that. So let's see. We're gonna take a third of it. We'll take a third out for the top and the bottom. And I'll put the other stuff away. We're just basically winging it, but that's usually how I do everything. Oh yeah, I have some of this rubber too. It's like a green pumpkin, like a brown green pumpkin, but it's got orange bars on one side and then green bars on the other. That would look cool, but maybe a different day. One day I'm going to run out of ideas. So yeah, let's start off. So if you think about it, whatever goes on the bottom is going to be the top layer. And I think I want that to be this rubber. And this rubber kind of, well, this is super good quality rubber, but it's a really long length. But the length, if you cut it in half, is too short. So you can't use, like, cut it in half and then use this on two different jigs because the length, well, I might be able to, but I've noticed the length doesn't, it's not long enough to fold over. It'll just, like, kind of stick up. But yeah. I'm going to just use the full length and throw away whatever I don't use. I'm cool with that. So we're just kind of like winging it, guessing, pulling, I'm taking, you know, a little bit of this, cutting it off, and that's how I'm going to decide how much I need. So it's not going to cover the entire top half of this jig, but it'll cover most of it. And whatever gaps there are, yeah. So I know I want, you know, a little bit to drape past the hook so I can trim it. So it's good to have this side of whatever material you're using to be longer because, you know, it drapes over, so it's gonna need to be longer. If that makes any sense at all. So we're gonna just tie this in and then we'll do a couple turns and then we'll move the silicone around, the rubber around to where we want. Like pulling this way so the thread is up against the head. So I explained it in the videos in the past. So we have like 4 strands on each side of the weed guard. So you don't necessarily have to tie over that hole. I don't think I'm going to. it'll make it easier to tie or put a weed guard in. So I kind of have it where I want, so I'm going to cinch that down. I have like all this extra crap hanging off, so I'm going to clip that in place so I don't get that in our way tying. And I'm going to put that same amount on the bottom. So there's going to be gaps in there, but we're adding that life flex and some silicone. Like, the more I think about it, the less silicone I actually want on here now. So about the same amount, 8 pieces of this rubber. Cut off this rest of this. Throw that away, or throw that to the side we're not going to use. So it's funny, I used 7 strands on top and then 7 strands on bottom. That's not an even number, but that's fine. Nothing in nature is perfect. So just a couple, couple of wraps without tightening it. And then we're going to spread this out. And when you spread it, like when I spread it out, I want it to be spread out even. So the gaps are at least consistent and not one giant gap. So you could either pull this or use the clip to pull it, but it helps a lot getting this thread hugged up next to the head. So that's what I'm going to do. Pull this, clip it. Now I could get right up next to the head with it. Especially with this rubber stuff, you want to be as close to the head as you can. Because you don't want the stuff, you want the stuff to drape over if it can. Otherwise it's going to lay out like this because there's so much thread. The thread's too wide. If that makes any sense. So there's like a few gaps in there that we could cover up. So never used. We're going to open this pack. It tells me when people join, but it doesn't tell me when people leave. So this is kind of weird too. So it has this zip tie in the middle. So I don't know if 1/2 would be long enough. See, like I don't even think one half is going to be long enough. I don't know if you guys understand, but I want this to be long enough so I can drape this over without this, like, not wanting to drape over, It has to be long enough. I think it will be. So I'm just going to cut off, like, 2 pieces at a time and put them in those gaps that I made. Because every 2 pieces is going to be 4 pieces once it's folded over. And it's going to be trimmed out too. So it's not going to be like an overwhelming amount of material. So we got 2 in there. We'll do like 2 pieces on each side, like each point of this football. So to make it symmetrical, I'll go, each of the sides and then 2 pieces on top and 2 pieces on bottom. So it's kind of like 4 corners of the jig. We'll have 2 pieces of this life flex on there. I feel like tying jigs is like one of the most boring videos you can watch. Anyways. Eyeball it up. So you want a little bit past the hook. Couple of wraps and then cinch it. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think it's gonna look pretty cool. Gonna do another 2. Eyeball this thing. Oh shit. A lot of this stuff is getting in my way. Tie it, reclip. Looks like a lot, but it's gonna get thinned out when we cut it with scissors and trim it up. Okay, so I'm gonna put my last two pieces pretty much right at like the weed guard hole. I'm going to try to have the pieces on each side of the hole, not going right over it. And in this case, I have to tie it on top of the rubber, which is fine. Done. So that's kind of a lot of crap on there. Yeah, I think it needs, I was almost gonna not use the silicone, but I think it needs it just for the colors. So we have no gaps in here, so where are we gonna put this watermelon candy? I'm gonna make a bunch of 2-strip pieces and set them aside. So I don't think I want to use more than 2 per tie, per section I tie in. So I'm going to tie all this back. I'm thinking the gaps between the life flex, all the 4 life flex spots, I'm going to tie in 2 of the watermelon silicone pieces and cross your fingers and hope it looks cool afterwards. So this will be, the 4 corners. 4 corners in between the life flex. We're going to have 2 strands of this regular silicone. And the crappy thing that happens is this thread breaks if you cinch down too hard. Thankfully it's not happening now, but when it does, I'll show you what I do. It's not a good thing, obviously. So we got 4 strands in there now. We're going to do another 4 on the next remaining 2 corners of this dude. I think. Yeah. Yep. So break off another 2 pieces. Tie those in. Is this the most exciting video you've ever seen? Just like talking with no one in the chat. Okay, so here's my last 2 strands. And this should be it. And we should be able to tie it down, completely glue it, and then trim it up and see kind of what we have. Got a lot of material. Hopefully it turns out nice. I'm probably gonna put those wire weed guards on. That fiber weed guards is going to just destroy this jig if I do. So I'm gonna whip finish this thing like 8 to 12 turns or wraps. So if you had a whip finish tool, this like rubber would get in your way and it would make the whip finish look kind of crappy. So like the more material you tie on, the thicker and the wider this head is going to be as far as the thread thickness and width. So we tied that down. We're going to cut this thread off, and then we're going to glue it with Sally Hansen, and then we'll trim. So if you buy a new package of Sally Hansen, it's like it goes on like water, but once you like use half of the bottle, the stuff gets really thick and harder to use. But you gotta be careful. Still thinking about that giveaway, what I want to do for it. What's up, everyone? Okay, so now we have all this crap here. I'm going to drape over, some of the top. And then kind of with my fingers and my eye, kind of determine the longest I would want it. And then just cut all of it on the head side to that length. I mean, to be safe, you could cut it a little longer, but feeling good about it, so we're going to cut it all. So that's a lot of extra rubber material that I used up. I'm using the wrong scissors for this. Where the hell am I? So I use this for thread. It's got, I think this is like it's like an arrow, it's like a scissor style, not a scissor style, like an arrowhead style scissors. So it's that long. It's good for thread, but not for cutting skirts. I have a longer pair of scissors that I use for deer hair, and they're like called hair scissors, but I don't know where they are. Right here. This is good for cutting skirts. Party in here. Guitar OD, you won. You won the giveaway. See, so this is kind of what I was saying, like, this rubber, like, I already know it doesn't want to drape over now, because it's so short. So, that's kind of a mistake, but we can kind of trim it based off of those. So we're going to probably cut most of the rubber stuff short, because if we left it long, it's not going to drape over anyways, so let's just cut that stuff short. It makes the decision easier that we messed up. I messed up. But it might be a blessing. Who knows? So all the rubber on the head side I'm cutting short. Because if I left it long, it's going to look like doo-doo. And that was, I think, the most material was that rubber. Okay, so now we have the Life Flex, which I can see that it does not drape over as well. So that's too short to leave long. So we're just going to cut that like a little bit longer than this rubber. It'll look cool. Alright, so now we're going to cut the Life Flex stuff medium length. And I'm going to actually leave all the bottom long. Because trying different stuff here. So we got everything on the bottom long. The Life Flex is long and the silicone's long, but the top, we're just going to leave that silicone the length it is long. So now like the head side of it is all done. Now we have to do the hook side of it all. So I'm thinking here. I'm gonna just cut the top half of it, you know, a little bit past the hook. I know what I want to do next, but I'll have to explain that when I get to that point. Yup. Epic Eric, what's up, dude? Thanks for having the time to watch this exciting video of me doing this. So we're gonna go like, you know, 1/2 inch past the hook and cut all of that the same length. But to me that looked dumb. So I wanna cut, you know, the stuff that's more stiff, like this rubber, I wanna cut shorter. I wanna cut all the rubber shorter. You know, between the hook point and the hook bend is where I'm gonna cut all that rubber. Because if you leave it all at the same length, it just looks like, it looks square. It just looks weird to me. And like if you're gonna put a trailer on this, you want to present that plastic. Okay, so now this light flex is here, and it's a little longer than this silicone, or this rubber I put on. Same with the silicone. The silicone's a little longer too, but I'm gonna leave that. No, this is just the top half of the material on the hook side. So now we did the top and bottom of the head side, and we did the top of the hook side. So now let's do the bottom, which is where I have an idea. So the bottom's super, super long. What the hell is this? Okay, the bottom's super long. If you can see that. But I actually I think it would be cool. It's hard to explain this. So I'm going to take all this rubber. I'm not going to touch it right now. I'm going to, but not right now. I'm going to take the light flex. I'm going to take the silicone. And I'm going to cut just those materials on the bottom. You know, the same length as it is on top. See, like, this is like probably one of the most boring kinds of videos on the internet, but I'm like getting excited here. So I'm going to cut that the same length as the silicone and the light flex is on top. So now I have this super long silicone on bottom, right? So this is long as hell, and it's going way past here. I'm gonna go like 1.5 inches and cut. I don't know, 1.5 inches out here and cut. So this is gonna actually go out farther than the claws will. And I'm not done with that yet. Got one more step. Oh yeah, pink hoodie. I just added these to my website. This is like they call it like a heavier duty like hoodie. The other ones I have are super soft, and they're warm, but they're thinner. These are like more of like, I want to say the material is cheaper, but it's a super warm. The heavy stuff is super warm, but the quality is maybe a little less than the other hoodies I have. But this one had more colors, so I added it. And it has like more of those XXL and XXXL sizes. Anyways, got that. So we have this long, on the bottom, rubber. I want to try to keep the center long and cut a few of the strands on the outside of it, you know, a little shorter, maybe 1/2 inch. So that's going to leave the middle strands long. It's kind of hard to, you know. So I'm going to have like, let's see, 2 strands long, and everything else is going to be like 1/2 inch shorter. So that's pretty much it. Looks kind of goofy, kind of weird. I'm actually going to trim. See, I'm just winging this. I'm going to take the top half of the head side, the silicone, and I'm going to cut it short, just like the rubber. So this way, there's nothing draping over on the top. You know, everything, you know, we have these like medium length life flex in there, and that's going to be the longest on the head side. But on the bottom of the head side, we have, you know, really long silicone and life flex. But all the rubber is really short. So yeah, I think that would look cool. We got the deer hair in there. We got like this goofy silicone cutout claws in there. Looks fishy. Yeah, it does. Looks pretty good. I like it. So let's see what it looks like out of the vise. Yeah. So I left the bottom. It's got 2 long strands on the bottom, so they stick out. You know, those little 2 long ones. Kind of what I was going for. Something a little longer. The head side's super short on the head side. The material on the bottom's longer. I'm just gonna fish like that. And this is all short up here, so everything right here is gonna show up, whether it be a plastic or just that body there. So it's just like a watermelon, green pumpkin kind of jig. So I tied a bait keeper in there. So we could add a plastic to it, but what do you think? Should we add a plastic and just have this extra claws at the same time? That's kind of it. That's the finished. Well, it's not finished yet. I still gotta tie those wire weed guards in there. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. Do you think the finesse cut jigs have an effect on the head bouncing on rocks and stuff? But anyways, yeah, you have a little bit, you know, the center of the bottom sticking out a little longer. You know, you have the bottom pretty long, so there's a lot of movement, but the movement's not like over the bait, like what, you know, what the bass are gonna see. The head is all short. Looks different for sure, but I think it looks good. You ever seen claws like that? So I showed in my last video how I epoxied in the wire weed guards. I'm gonna do that again. But this one has like rubber that is going over the hole. So I'm gonna have to clip that out of the way. It's gonna be a little difficult to get epoxy in there, but it's gonna happen. There's like a little nick mark too on the head. Tiny nick mark. That's fine. So this is probably the most boring part, even though this whole video was. But we're gonna mix some epoxy and glue a wire weed guard in and let it dry. I'm not gonna like keep the video going when it's drying, but I'll keep the video going when I'm gluing it in. I already have these pre-made. These like stainless steel twisted wire weed guards. I bent the tops of them. I use this Plano edge section for my jig box, as talked about in my last video. I'm going to load the jig up in here. It's kind of thinner, so it's going to go in there pretty easy. Look at that. I'm going to put a rubber band on there. So the rubber band has a lot of functions to it. All this like crap, that rubber band's going to push all that crap down. try to show you. Yeah, I mean, it's not like super like engineering or anything, but the rubber band pushes that stuff down, so it's not getting in the way of the wire things going in there. So yeah, in the last video I said like raising this up and down is going to change the angle of those keepers. So now this rubber that's on the top of the head is in the way of gluing, so I'm going to clip that crap out of the way so we can throw epoxy in there without getting it on the silicone. So I have 2 clips for this head. This is what I do. So it's like it gives that hole a bunch of room to glue, to epoxy. Now you need a good light, but that's the next step. So we're going to use 5-minute epoxy. It's all you need to hold this weed guard in place. Business cards from work. What's up, Piranha? This is a very tail end of the video. We have 2 pea-sized drops down. We're going to mix that up. We're also going to color the epoxy to match kind of the head, even though it's kind of hard to match that. Maybe I'll just do black, put some black powder in there, and it'll be like a black hole. I will admit this is not, I don't think this jig's as cool as the last one was, but it's definitely something I've never made before. And the silicone claws are not something I've seen or messed with. I ran out of paperclip, or ran out of toothpick. Brand new bag, Hobby Lobby. Got the hookup for the toothpicks. Popsicle sticks. Tiny bit of black powder, mix it in. So, repeating myself again from the last video. You're going to put a drop of this in that hole. And that's going to create an air bubble in the hole. So we're going to use the wire guards to pop the bubble. And once the bubble pops, the epoxy will settle in the bottom of the hole. And then you'll have to add another drop on top. And I just pulled on the clip and it pulled one of the silicone strands off, which is fine. Yeah. It's frustrating. I got 3 clips on there now. Yeah, that was a lot of epoxy I just threw on there, so hopefully it turns out alright. I gotta pop the bubble to get that epoxy drop in there. Okay. I'll show you once I'm done. But yeah, I just had a major issue. My rubber bands like throwing my weed guards everywhere. Yeah, it's Alright, I'm just gonna let this sit. But yeah, you're looking. That's the angle I'm going for from the weed guard. I could go a little lower. I might drop the angle down a little bit, but look at that mess going on in front. Just adjusting the angle of it, and then I'll be done. Yeah, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm getting like super picky about it, but yeah, it's in a good spot. Pretty simple. I mean, it doesn't take as long as I took, but with explaining everything, it took a little long. But yeah, that'll look cool. I mean, like I said, I've never used these claws before, so I don't know how durable they will be, but you could rip them off and throw plastic on, and this jig will still be good. But yeah, I think the jig will work. I'll take a picture of it tomorrow. I think we'll do maybe another live stream soon, and then I'll have at least another jig. Maybe I'll make some jigs between now and the next video, but I want to give away, some of these hard baits, and we'll have a few jigs in the giveaway too, so it's not, 1 or 2 jigs. But I think it'll be cool to just give some stuff away. But yeah, that was exciting, right? I'm gonna end the video and post it to my YouTube channel if you want to look at it there, but that's pretty much it. Have a good day.